Today we'll be comparing weapons in Apex Legends according to their class and determine which weapon in each class is the best. We're going to go through each and every one of them, the SMGs, the LMGs, the snipers, the marksmen, all of them. Except for of course the care package weapons, which we're gonna downgrade them to their base form. Except for the Kraber, no excuses, it's getting out of here. Let's start off with the LMGs. In the battle of the LMGs, we've got the Rampage, the Spitfire, the Devotion, and fuck the L-Star, it belongs in the trash. Now I actually have stats for all these weapons, so we'll be comparing them according to their stats. I've brought up about 3 categories here, which is damage per second, hip fire spread, and the magazine size, which is very important, determining the difference between the enemy being one shot or toast. Now in terms of damage per second, this is no competition. The Devotion wins by a landslide. It has a damage per second of 240. Second place is the Spitfire with a damage of 162. Third place is the Rampage with a damage of 140. Now since we're comparing these weapons on their base forms, the Rampage will be third place in damage per second. But if it was revved up and we're comparing these weapons according to their full potential, it would have been second place with a damage per second of 182, making it the second highest damage per second LMG. But I'm not doing that here, we're only comparing weapons to their base forms. Now in terms of magazine size, the Rampage wins with a magazine size of 40. Second place is the Devotion with a mag size of 36, and lastly the Spitfire with a mag size of 35. Now lastly is the Hipfire. Which is best? Well, the Devotion and the Rampage are tied at 2.5, the lower the better by the way, and the Spitfire is last with 4.5. I would say the best LMG in the game has to be the Devotion. When it comes to the SMGs, we've got the Volt against the car. When it comes to damage, the car SMG wins with a damage of 202 damage per second, while the Volt is at 180. When it comes to magazine size, the car SMG has a magazine size of 20, while the Volt SMG has a magazine size of 19. In terms of hip fire, the car is better with a hip fire spread of 2 and the Volt 4. Now it's safe to say that the best SMG in the game is the car. Now for the snipers, we've got the Sentinel, the longbow, and everyone's favorite weapon, the space beam. Now with the snipers, we'll be doing something a little different again. It'll be damage per shot on the body versus headshot damage. Now in damage per shot, the Sentinel takes this one with a body damage of 70 and a headshot damage of 126. The longbow comes in at second place with a body damage of 55 and a headshot damage of 121. Then lastly, we've got the space beam with a body damage of 45 and a headshot damage of 54. Now in terms of magazine size, the space beam comes in at first place with a magazine size of 8. The longbow comes in at second place with 6. The Sentinel is last with 4. Now in terms of projectile speed, the Sentinel comes in at second place with a projectile speed of 187 meters per second. The longbow has a projectile speed of 774 meters per second. And guess what? The charged rifle comes in at first place with a projectile speed of an instant, meaning that it can travel from point A to B, no matter the distance, at an instant. It's basically difficult to miss with this weapon. Now on paper, I think it's clear that the Sentinel takes this one as being the best sniper in the game. Now this is the extra notes in the video. You can check the timestamps to skip to the next section, but I'll be explaining why the charged rifle is so OP and broken. The space beam is the only hit scan weapon in the game, meaning that it can hit anything it targets instantly. With all that, it might not win as the most powerful sniper in the game, but it certainly wins as the most annoying one. Now for the shotties, same thing as before, we're gonna be doing damage per shot instead of damage per second. We have the Peacekeeper, the Mastiff, and the EVA 8. In terms of damage, the Peacekeeper comes out as number 1 with a damage per shot of 121. The Mastiff is second place with a damage per shot of 112, and the EVA 8 is last with 72. In magazine size, it's no surprise that the EVA 8 wins with a magazine size of 8. The Mastiff and the Peacekeeper are tied at 5. Now in range, the Peacekeeper wins with a range of 100 meters. The EVA 8 and the Mastiff are tied at 38. Lastly is hipfire spread. The Mastiff and the EVA 8 both win with a hipfire spread of 0. That's why it's so easy to aim with those weapons, and the Peacekeeper is last with a hipfire spread of 2.8. Now we can say that out of all the shotguns in the game, the best shotgun has to be the Peacekeeper. Now this has been what a lot of people have been waiting for. The battle of the assault rifles. We've got the Flatline and the R301. We'll be comparing these weapons over 5 different categories, which are damage per second, magazine size, fire rate, distance, and hipfire spread. Now for damage per second, I don't think it's any surprise that the R301 wins this one with a damage per second of 189, while the Flatline is just short at 180. With magazine size, the Flatline wins with a magazine size of 20, while the R301 is at 18. When it comes to fire rate, the R301 wins this one with a fire rate of 13.5, while the Flatline is shy at 10. When it comes to distance, it's a tie at 300 meters, and when it comes to hipfire, it's also a tie at 6.5. Now when comparing the points, the R301 wins 4 out of 5 of these categories, while the Flatline wins 3 out of 5 of these categories. And yes, the ties do count as points. So I think it's safe to say that the best assault rifle in the game has to be the R301. For the pistol, we've got the R45 and the Wingman. This was very weird to compare because they're 2 different weapons, but I did my best. Instead of magazine size, which is very obvious, I swapped it with distance, maximum distance. So first up, damage per second. The R45 takes down with a damage per second of 182, while the Wingman falls behind with 117. When it comes to distance, the Wingman totally destroyed the R45. The Wingman has a distance of 254 meters, while the R45 has a maximum distance of 38 meters. Now with hipfire spread, the Wingman wins with a hipfire spread of 2.4, while the R45 3. Now this can go very deep. The other stats that I didn't include in this video because my goodness is it very long and complicated, so I simplified things, but in this simplified version, the Wingman takes this one as being the best pistol in the game. Finally, to end this video off, we've got the marksman rifles. Now we have these 3 categories, which are damage per shot, range, which is the same as distance, and magazine size. Now when it comes to damage per shot, the triple take wins that one with a damage per shot of 102, while the G7 Scout is at 54. In range / distance, they both are the same at 450 meters. And at magazine size, the triple take wins that one with a magazine size of 18, while the G7 Scout is at 10. So there you have it. The best marksman in the game is the triple take. And that's it for me. If you have any questions, then please ask them down in the comments below. If you really enjoyed this, then please like and subscribe for more videos. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you soon.